Hi, everyone. This is Willie Crawford, and I'm joined today by George Stavru, who is a fitness expert, a health and fitness expert who's got 25 plus years of experience in the field. Uh, One of the things that I noticed as an entrepreneur is that many of us spend all of our health trying to make money online, and we finally do okay, and then we figure out, okay, so now I've got all this money, but I neglected my health all these years, and so now I've got all these diseases and ailments, and I don't feel so good. So what I want you to do is to uh, focus as much on quality of life and your health as you do on making money, because what good does it do you to have lots of money in your old age if you can't enjoy it? That's sort of insane. So I brought George on board. George is the author of the #1 bestseller on Amazon.com, How You Can Sculpt a Leaner, Healthier Body in 12 Weeks. It's a guide for beginners, and that was published on Amazon.com back in December of 2002. He's also the owner of the Stavro Method, which is a company based in Toronto, Ontario, that takes a preventative approach to optimal health and wellness. George's philosophy can be summed up in his company slogan, a healthy way to a healthy body, mind, and spirit. And so we jive there. We think the same there. Additionally, George has written for numerous publications, Dolphin, Olympia Magazine, A to Z Fitness, Intense Fitness, AHF, which is American Health and Fitness, and A Healthy Directions. George is also the creator of the Stavro Method, which is, again, a 12-day guide to health, wellness, and fat loss for all levels. It is it's unique, it's comprehensive, and I want to introduce you to him. I want to discuss with him his method and see if I can pull out of him some tips on how you can live a healthier life. But it also encourage you to check out his teachings. And for that, below this recording, I will include a link so you can just click on that and go check it out. I won't try to read off all the URLs and all that stuff. So, George, first of all, thanks for joining me today.
Well, Willie, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to have me on board. I'm looking forward to this for some time, and I'm excited about sharing with you and your viewers and listeners some more information about the package that we've been working on for the last little while.
Super. I find that, well, first of all, when I mention health and fitness, a lot of people are going to think, whoa, I don't want to become a gym rat, or, I don't want to have to go on some extreme diet, and all that. I want to live my life. And so what I've noticed about your packaging and your training, and I do own the training, of course. I first met George, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and I got an earlier version of his training, and now he's updated. It's all new. Mm-hmm. You teach a holistic approach, and you teach something that people can do. Now, one of the things that I've been trained is that it takes a certain period of time for people to form a habit.
Correct, yes.
And what we're really doing here is we're stepping people through the process, your program, is stepping people through the process of developing new, better habits. And you're holding them accountable. You give them an accountability partner. You want to address that? It's a little off topic.
Well, definitely. Yeah. Well, as far as the accountability side of it, so what I've actually done with this program compared to, say, what others have done is, when people do come on board with a package, they get email sent to them on a daily basis via autoresponder. So basically, like, your person says, okay, hi, Joel, thanks for coming on board with the program. Based on the questions that you answered, your for example, at intermediate level 1, here's your recommended exercises for the day, nutrition, supplementation, a brief review of what was covered in the package. So it's almost like homework in a sense, but it's more of a casual approach to say, well, we recommend that you read a few pages here to get familiar with what's happening. And I find that when people are reminded in a gentle manner, they're more likely to stay on board with the program rather than somebody that just purchases a digital book or a video package and they tend to forget it. Like I've got thousands of things on my laptop that I didn't know that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So if I did get the reminder on a regular basis, chances are I would have used certain things regularly before going on to the next, bright shiny object that's out there.
Now, one of the parts of it is definitely diet.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going on an extreme diet, but it's eating healthier, holistic, healthier whole foods. Not
Correct.
overly processed foods. And I'm big on that. I grow
Mm-hmm.
my own fruits and vegetables, for example, and I don't use insecticides or pesticides. I use natural pest control. People, when they hear health and fitness, I guess one of the things that scares them first of all is the diet side of it.
Mm-hmm.
I got to be really strict on my diet.
Yeah. And nutrition does tend to be a challenging spot for a lot of people, more so than say, the physical activity side of it. Going to the gym, whether it's the resistance training or the cardio, a person can be done in a half hour or an hour and they're finished for the day. But when you think with nutrition, if a person is consuming something every 2.5 to 3 hours, that's 5 to 6 meals throughout the course of the day. So the approach that I take, it's more like, this is not just say for the nutrition side, William, but for the whole package, it's more of a lifestyle shift rather than a lifestyle change. So meeting people where they're at. Some people kind of have that on-off switch in their head where they can do a complete 180 from where they are and just dive right into it, and it fits their particular mindset. But the majority of people that I've come across over the years saying, here's where I'm at right now. I need something a little bit more gentler, but that gradually guides me into things and goes back to what you're saying as far as developing habits in the long run. So just a little bit over time, over the course of 12 weeks, which is the duration of the program, it ends up being lifelong habits that a person carries with them forever.
Now, I know that you and I both go out and get exercise every morning. I mean, I guess you run every morning.
It depends. Like, I vary it. So some mornings I do my resistance training. Other times I will go for a run. So it's nice to have a little bit of variety for things. This way your body does not adapt to any one particular type of activity. You minimize the chance of overuse injuries. And I find mentally it's a nice break for me. If I'm always doing the same thing, I start off enjoying it, but after a while I just start to dread it. So not this again. And that's actually built into the program and saying by the time you get fed up with something or just bored, you're doing something else. But there's still enough continuity, you're going to get the benefit from the regular exposure to the activities.
Excellent. And I personally, I practiced karate for 40 years, and I start every morning off with just a walk in nature because that's when I do my best thinking. I'll go for a 5 to 10 mile walk. I'm 59 years old, and I don't really want to stress my joints that much, even though I don't have any problem with things like arthritis and all those things. And speaking of arthritis, I noticed that you mentioned on your webpage, actually, that 80% of all disease and illness is preventable.
Correct. Yeah.
So, we're more advanced than ever medically and scientifically, and yet we're in the worst shape. We have more epidemics than at any time in history. I mean,
figured that one out, which is strange.
Arthritis, high blood pressure, and all those things aren't necessarily a part of growing older, are they?
They are not. No, it's just like, and there are some societies out there that some people consider primitive in a sense. The reason why I'm poking quotes around it, maybe they are not as advanced technologically as we are, but they're living a lot longer than we are, and they're healthier as well. So, like the one of the contributing authors to the package, he says the best cure for a particular illness or disease is don't get it in the first place. So, what I'm doing is different, say, from some of the other similar packages out there. It's more of, say, a preventative approach. So, let's see what we can do as far as minimize or preventing entirely the chance of people getting arthritis or even, say, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, things like that. Or if a person already has it, um, the package is meant there as a guide to hopefully gradually wean people off of prescription meds, but that's a conversation they need to have with their healthcare practitioners. So I'm not saying that this is a guarantee that if somebody does follow the package, that they could stop their meds right away. It's just, check with your primary healthcare giver and just reevaluate your situation. But there's a lot of things that people can do naturally through, say, exercise, proper nutrition that's customized for their specific needs, supplements, essential oils, and the two of us are working together on that. So, say like a person can reduce their arthritic symptoms or their arthritic pain by 20%. That may mean like a difference, say, between being in so much pain that they're bedridden or feeling a lot better where they can go out and enjoy their life that day.
Yeah, and you and I, we think the same on these topics. Actually, again, I'm very healthy for a 59-year-old. I'm healthier than many 35-year-olds.
I know that, yeah.
I go for a walk and I pass people who are huffing and puffing and they're all out of shape. And I think it's mostly diet. I mean, it's processed sugar and things like that, but also inflammation in the body.
Which is a huge thing, yeah.
It is huge. Why don't we shift slightly to maybe giving people some tips on how they can live a healthier, more fulfilling life,
Definitely.
One of the things that I know is entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs like me, I've worked 18-hour days. That's not good. I mean, that doesn't give your body time to recover, to heal
Correct.
itself.
Mm-hmm.
You want to maybe offer some tips on the need for rest or adequate.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. Like, that's where we do our recovery. Well, think of it this way, Will. If a person has, say, a very bad cold or the flu, your body kind of goes into the shutdown mode. So I'm going to devote all my resources and just get as much sleep as possible to help the whole recovery process.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, like, a lot of entrepreneurs out there are guilty of the fact that they're just putting very long days, are not active, they're basically glued to the computer screen. So what I do with the package, it's more of a holistic approach. So I cover, say, the physical side of health and wellness, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, and then, say, relationships with ourselves and others. So what I can do is I can give, say, a couple tips in each of those areas that I believe would be of value to our viewers and our listeners, if you're okay with that.
Oh, I'd love that. I mean, I want the listeners to walk away with something they can use, but at the same time, I want to encourage them to check out your package because you're the trainer that I've learned a lot from over the last 5 years or so.
Thank you.
And I follow a lot of what you teach. So, yes, I'd love some tips.
Okay, I appreciate that. So I'm just going to take a look at my notes here to make sure I'm not losing track of anything. So, say, as far as the physical side of things, some people seem to think that there's one program that fits everybody. So you look at your next door neighbor, it's like, oh, they're in amazing shape and they're following whatever program that's out there. Not say it's a bad program, but no one program is going to be perfect for everybody all the time. So I'd say the first tip as far as the physical side of things is, if possible, meet up with a certified, qualified personal trainer and just get assessed all as far as your strengths, your weaknesses, muscle imbalances, etc. And then based on that, figure out what direction to go in with the program. So, obviously I'd recommend purchasing my program, but also like, it may need to be tweaked a little bit based on that individual's needs. I'd say tip number 2 is, as solid as any program is, eventually you're going to reach a plateau. So a general rule of thumb is to change the program every 4 weeks. If you change it too often, you're not getting the benefit of any one routine, but if you're on it for too long, you hit that plateau and you just don't get any more results. So I recommend to my clients to say, every 4 weeks or when at the beginning of the new month, we mix it up. It does not be like, a huge change, but just enough for the body to say, this is something different as far as maybe exercise I'm doing that I haven't done previously, or different weight that they haven't used before, that type of thing. So I say that covers the physical side. Mental, this is a big thing. I'd say a lot of times, like, we tend to put ourselves under more stress based on how we perceive what's going on around us. So as an example, the way I used to be is when I was stuck in traffic, I just get very frustrated, angry, agitated, and I'd let that stress affect other areas of me in a negative manner. So what I've learned to do is saying, well, here's an opportunity to kind of regroup a little bit and be more focused on the present moment and appreciating all the great things I have in my life. So getting angry about being stuck in traffic is not going to do anything, but it's giving me that chance to be more positive about things.
Yeah, I try to live with an attitude of gratitude. So instead of looking at what I don't have or what's wrong with the world, I look for the positives. And in fact, if I notice somebody like on social media that I follow, whatever, and they're too negative, always negativity, I don't let them inside my mind.
No.
So I'll unfriend them. I mean, I don't need that in my world. It's all about controlling what you allow into your mind. But
exactly, which is another stressor, and that does lead into the next point there, because since there is so much negativity, whether it's from an outside thing or even something that we're thinking of ourselves, why don't we intentionally put something positive in its place? And I'm not saying that you'll never be aware of the negative out there, but sometimes people dwell on it to the point where they make themselves sick. There's things going on in parts of the world that I have no control over. It's unfortunate that's happening to some people. I'm not going to actively look for more information if it's an area that I can't assist in. So I just rather keep myself as positive and optimistic as possible and be more of a direct influence on those that are close to me, rather than worry about something that I can't do any changes about whatsoever.
Absolutely. I think the same way. It's like I acknowledge that there are things in the world that I may not like or that aren't quote unquote good. But if I have no control over them, then there's no point in obsessing over them, because that does no good. That just puts you in a negative place. It does adversely affect you physiologically. So
exactly, because a lot of illnesses, have been shown to actually have an emotional component to it as well. So if you think of, say, a loved one passing away, my background is Greek Macedonian, and the way that our culture is, they dwell on the life that is no longer there, and they just carry that for the rest of their lives. And there's other cultures out there, they say, let's celebrate the life that was lived, and that person's at peace, and perhaps they're at a different level or plane of existence. So you don't have to grieve for somebody the rest of your life, because that's going to affect your health and the health of those that are still around you. So try to look for the positive in the things that are out there. Say we enjoyed the time that we had together. Here's what I learned from them, the valuable part of my life. So it's whatever story you want to tell yourself in a positive frame where it actually empowers you, rather than ends up corroding away at your health.
yes, that makes perfect sense. You know, many of us operate, I mentioned again, in a sleep deficit actually, and we as entrepreneurs, I as an entrepreneur, I'm concerned about productivity. I mean, I have some very lofty goals.
Well, what you share with me, and I just love these chats about what you work on. It's amazing.
But I've discovered or been trained that you're actually more productive if you get more rest. I mean, you can spend half as much time working on something and get twice as much done if
Mm-hmm.
you're adequately rested. But when your mind and your body's exhausted,
Mm-hmm.
less productive. So
Yeah.
get enough sleep, and many of us are dehydrated. Uh, so I drink
Yeah.
lots of fresh, clean water.
Yeah.
Uh, we touched on physical and the mental and the
Yeah. Well,
financial.
if we go to the sleep aspect of it, I'm certainly a big believer. So it's say the quality of sleep and also the quantity. It's a matter of finding out that sweet spot that's right for your particular needs. So personally, I find if I sleep more than say 8 hours a night, I wake up, it's almost like a drunk, groggy feeling. If I'm sleeping less than say 6.5, I don't feel well rested to really take on the day. Like, there are exceptions there. Like, sometimes we do have commitments that take us a little bit more time than expected. But my sweet spot is anywhere from 6.5 to 8. That's what works well for me. And I'm notorious for taking a 20-minute nap in the afternoon. So I find when I do that, I'm good for another couple of hours in the evening rather than not taking it, and I go to bed sooner.
Yeah, I've had several bosses I've worked for, national merit scholars and practically geniuses,
Mm,
who they took their lunch breaks and they went home when I was in the military, and they took a nap.
yeah,
And they came back totally refreshed. So even like a half hour or 1 hour nap, depending on what uh, type of sleep you drop into, whether it's REM or whatever, uh,
mm,
what brainwave, uh, can make a huge difference. So naps
definitely.
are excellent. I used to watch old people take naps, and I sort of smile at them, but those are good for you.
Definitely. Yeah, I've been taking naps since I was a kid and it's never stopped. I still get teased to this day. But then people that tease me ask them how productive they are, and they say, well, maybe half as productive as I am.
Yeah,
So it works for me.
I get more done most days than many people get done in a week or even a month. But then
Mm,
they get online or whatever, and they convince themselves they're working when they're not. They're chit chatting, and you see me on Facebook. I'm actually working. I'm
mm,
communicating via Facebook Messenger and things like that. So
correct.
uh, it's one of those tools that um, that I find very productive, actually.
Hmm.
But you have to be aware of how you're using your time at the same time. Uh,
Exactly. And the thing is a person productive or are they just busy? And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of surfing the internet and catching up with friends and family on Facebook. What I've learned a lot from you over the years is, work hard and play hard. So when, you got that time away from the projects that you're working on, enjoy that playtime for what it is and say, okay, I'm going to devote an hour just to put my feet up and just doing leisurely things. And I'm not going to worry about too much because I know that when that hour is up, I'm getting back to business.
Now, part of the holistic approach to health is also financial.
Correct.
If you spend all your time worrying about paying the bills
Hmm.
and uh, you know even putting food on the table, that's going to stress you out, and that's going to cause health issues too. I
No doubt
mean,
about it. Yeah. And
so
along those lines, something I did pick up from other experts out there. So if a person's going to be making, say, a rather large purchase, and large is just relative to your current financial situation,
right.
instead of putting on the credit card right away and worrying about the bill later, these experts would say, take 24 to 48 hours to really think about it and say, do you really need to buy this particular product or service? Maybe you do, or maybe you can get away with something that isn't as costly, or maybe you just don't need it at all. And I found when I take that approach, a lot of times I don't really need it as much as I want it. But I trick myself to believing that I need it because maybe the hype that's around it, or it's a little bit of peer pressure because friends have something similar that I don't want to feel that I'm missing out on anything. So that's
Right.
a big thing, just because it's not just what you have, it's like what's really adding value to your life. That's a big thing. And I feel like maybe financial tip number two is be aware of the interest rates that you're spending on the credit cards. So like, there's always going to be offers coming in the mail and saying like, we can do, no interest for whatever length of time as long as you transfer the balance over. So be aware of it. And they say if you can get 12 months interest free, accept them. Like, assume that everything else jives with that particular credit card, and the money that you would have been spending on interest, you can actually use it to pay off the principal. And be sure to mark it out, say on your calendar, saying, okay, I've got a 12-month thing happening that I just picked up early August. We're recording right now. So leave myself a reminder saying, okay, for July of 2019, this offer is going to expire. So keep my eye out for another offer where even if I'm juggling cards a little bit, get rid of the old one with the high interest rate, bring in a new one, and you can pay things off much sooner.
Yeah. As I look at the world of interest rates and credit cards and all that, it seems almost unfair because if you don't need the money, you get a lower interest rate. It's people who can at least afford it and pay the interest rate, and then they're late on paying bills, so now they got penalties and all those things. And I know some very wealthy people, and they pay their credit cards off on time every month.
Lovely. So,
credit cards, they earn frequent flyer miles and all those things, reward. There's nothing wrong with
it. There's one gentleman that I know that he'll use his credit card every time he goes for a coffee. He says, I'm buying the coffee anyways. If I'm paying cash for it, I'm out of cash at that very moment. The credit card gives me 30 days to pay it off. And by using the credit card, it does go into those bonuses that you get, and rewards and things like that.
Right. So, even I use, for example, PayPal, and they give you 1% cash back when you charge things as a credit rather than a debit. And so,
adds up.
I'm spending money that I already have in my account as a debit card, but I can say it's a credit, and so it does add up later. And yet I refuse to spend money I don't have. So
smart. It's always get caught in that trap.
Yeah. Trying to think.
Yeah. So there's also say like the spiritual side of things, and then say relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I say spiritual, I'm not knocking any person's religious beliefs.
Yeah.
Because there's good and bad in any religion that's out there.
And a lot of them are about control.
Yeah. And I'm not going to get into a debate with people, but what I've learned from others that are out there is saying, pick the best out of different religions and find what works for you. So I'm more of a spiritual person where I believe that there's a higher power, but my background, I was born and raised Greek Orthodox. I just don't follow it down to the letter. It doesn't resonate with me. But we find if a person has a faith in some type of higher power, whatever name that you want to give it, they tend to be just more positive and optimistic overall. If they do encounter illnesses, they tend to recover faster and a lot of times even fully from it, compared to people that don't have that faith or belief in something else.
Right. I think along the same lines. I was raised Protestant, but have also spent a lot of time in the Catholic Church and around a lot of other religions. And I actually posted on Facebook once. I said, if you believe in a higher power that's all powerful, then why can't all religions be true?
Good question.
I mean, it's just, why not? So, I don't argue religion. And again, I think a lot of it's about control. I am more spiritual too. So I maintain a connection with whatever's out there, the universe. And I accept people when I discuss things like that with people, and I don't get into politics and religion.
No.
especially on social media, because people don't change their mind. They just want to argue and start fights, So,
Well, and how's that saying go? Like, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? I'd like to be both, but sometimes if I'm arguing with somebody, I may be right, but then it puts me in a bad mood. So it's like sometimes don't even pay attention to a particular post or comment that a person's putting out there. It's like, fine, they can believe whatever they like. I'm just going to do my thing here. And that actually leads me into like, just one of the other things that we're covering here. So it's also like you'll say relationships with ourselves and others. And, you've got to love and respect yourself first before it's like you can love and respect others and expect them to love and respect you in return. So what I try to do is, and the way I look at it, there's basically three approaches you can take with others. You can either help them, you can be neutral, or you can do something intentionally to hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
So if I choose not to help them for whatever reason, maybe it's time, resources, or just somebody I don't want to associate for whatever reason, I'm not going to intentionally put them in a worse spot. I'm just going to be neutral and leave them alone. But some people thrive on the negativity and actually offending and hurting others.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Now, we've gone, I don't know, half an hour or more, and I don't want to go too long because I've been taught that people have a short attention span, and the longer you make them sit and listen, the more you lose them. So what I want to do is I want to encourage people to go and check out your package. And for that, again, I'm going to put a link below the recording. But you have a referral program, and I'm a referral partner. And so I want people to, if they buy the package, which I encourage them to do, it comes with a money-back guarantee. It's a very reasonably priced when you consider that it's all about your health.
Yeah, it's an investment in themselves. So sometimes people will look at something and they don't realize that the initial investment will carry them over for months and years down the road.
But when they purchase through the link that I'm going to provide for them, I want to offer them some bonuses because we're talking about health and fitness and diet, and there's so many diets out there that are very confusing. And so like $200 plus worth of bonuses at them.
Very generous of you,
The first one will be a program to teach people all about the ketogenic diet. And so for that, I've got like 11 videos.
Wow.
And the same material is covered in audio. So if you don't feel like sitting and watching videos, you can, while in your car or commuting to work, whatever, listen to audios. But it's also been transcribed. So they get the transcripts. And that's one of the diets I examine. And I won't get into what each thing covers. I'll post that in section 2. The second one is I'll look at the paleo diet. This is what our ancestors, I guess the cavemen or whatever, ate. And again, this is 7 videos, 7 audios, no transcripts, but it's looking at exactly what the paleo diet is and why it's good for you and all that. But like you pointed out, no one diet is perfect for anyone. So I've got another product I'm going to throw, which is explaining low carb. People ask, should I have low carb or should I eat a lot of carbs and low fat? At one time, low fat was all in vogue, but there's good fats.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is a package that includes an ebook and a worksheet, and I had a couple others in there. I'm looking through my notes. And,
you've got a lot of information in there with those bonuses.
Yeah. Let me glance at my notes real quick. Oh, the Mediterranean diet. People in the Mediterranean and Italy and Greece and Turkey, they eat diets that have certain components, and they're known, especially Italians,
Mm-hmm.
uh, well, looking gorgeous, and
Yeah,
being, and part of it's things like olive oil and all those things. But
goes back to the good fat you mentioned. Yes.
yeah, so I have a an ebook and a worksheet on the Mediterranean diet, or a cheat sheet, if you want to call it
Mm-hmm.
that. And then I look at gluten free.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have things like celiac disease and all those, and they don't realize that they're allergic to gluten. And so
Correct.
I have training on that. So I'm throwing in a package that looks at 5 different diets, basically. Uh,
Loving it.
there are lots of others out there, but these are some of the ones that are more in vogue today. And so,
Correct.
you know,
Well, it's great that you're doing that. So this way people can experiment with different eating plans and find out what's right for their particular needs. Like
right,
one of the challenges I have, especially like, if it's just a static diet that doesn't think you'll really move along with your particular needs and say issues or food allergies or whatever, it just if you look at people in different parts of the world, say North and South Pole, it's like where they're eating, it tends to be more of a keto approach. So it's going to be higher fat, higher good fats, higher healthy
right,
proteins, minimal vegetation because it doesn't really grow too much in those parts of the world. But then you look at people around the equator, and it's the opposite. It just tends to be higher carbs and minimal healthy protein and minimal healthy fat. So if there's healthy cultures in different parts of the world, and there's different eating plans that a person can benefit from. So it's a matter of finding out what your body needs. I find at this point in my life, I don't do well with a lot of carbs compared to when I was a teenager 30 plus years ago. It's changed. So I've got to earn my carbs, so to speak. Too
yeah,
much of it, I get fat. Too little of it, I'm not thinking clearly. I recognize where my sweet spot is. But some people thrive on the higher carbs, and that works for them. Just minimize the processed food. It goes back to what you talked about earlier. One of the things I've actually done with the package is I encourage people to have, say, a cheat meal and a cheat day once in a while. So you're basically taking 5 to 6 steps forward, a couple steps back. It's go out, love it, enjoy yourself for what it is, but then get back to your program after that cheat time and frame is up.
makes perfect sense. And I've actually traveled to over 60 countries now, and I spent time like in Alaska where I ate whale blubber
Wow.
and whale oil and things like that. So I fully understand that, and I've spent time in the Orient where
Hmm.
places like Japan have people who are lots of centurions,
Yeah.
and they eat lots of food, but
Hmm.
they're all thin, and so you have to find what's right for you. You and I, as you pointed out, basically, if we do too many carbs, our bodies basically convert it to fat and
Hmm.
store it instead
Yeah.
of, so I don't do a lot of carbs. I don't do any processed sugar. I do, fruits and vegetables have sugar in them, but
Yeah.
as far
But it's more natural for you, and your body has an easier time absorbing the vitamins and minerals from it and breaking down the food in a proper manner rather than the artificial things that are out there.
right, right,
And it's just knowing where your body's at with it. So, perfect example, as we're doing the recording, it's a long weekend in Canada that's coming up for us.
uh,
So, I know I'm going to be a little bit of a slob on the weekend, but I'm going to start my day off by going to the gym, putting a little bit more time and intensity than I normally do, and I'm going to be earning my calories. So, calorie wise, I'm going to be breaking even over the course of the day. And a little bit of junk, it's something I'm looking forward to because I know I'm going to get back to my program the very next day.
okay, okay, and I want to sort of move
Yeah,
towards wrapping it up, and as I
yeah,
do, I think I want to pull up your website, although you know it better than I do. But let me see if I can figure out this screen share here.
yeah.
I'll just
Yeah, if
do,
there's any particular questions you have on it, feel free to ask.
okay.
Yeah, so if you go to see the bottom of the screen in the middle, you should see a green briefcase, Willie, with an arrow pointing up, and that should let you get to my website.
Yeah, somewhere in there I clicked the wrong button. Uh, can I get you to show your screen while I think what I did?
Yeah, I'm not too sure if I have my website up here or not, but I'll see if I can get it for us. So I think you did have it earlier, my friend.
Yeah, I did, but I lost my icon.
Sorry about that, folks. We appreciate your patience while having some technical challenges.
And we can always cut this part out. It's just I don't see the. What do I do? Oh, okay. Now I see what I did. I hit the button that minimized the video, so I'm gonna go share screen, and can you see my screen now?
I can. Yep, there we go. Yeah, we can just scroll to the very top, please, and we should be good to go.
Okay.
Fantastic.
You know, our basic message is that, as you age or as you just grow it, sink into a vegetative lifestyle, that your health is going to decline if you don't take care of it. And that's what the message I started out with is. I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs, and we spend all of our day just sitting in front of a computer screen, And so it's just normal that if you don't eat healthy and you don't get any exercise at all, your health is going to decline. But if you just do a few preventative things, you do a few things to develop new habits, basically, then that's not necessarily going to happen to you, So that's my message to entrepreneurs is why spend all your time trying to, make a little money, and then you wake up one day and say, man, I'm in really bad shape.
Yeah.
And you got to spend all that money trying to get back your health, which
exactly
sort of a losing proposition. So, I look at the package. It's a 12-week day-by-day guide to health, wellness, and fat loss for all fitness levels. And what that means is whether you're a beginner or an intermediate or you're an advanced person, you're in fairly good shape. There's something in there for you. And you basically break it down into sections. I think it's like 4 weeks.
Correct. Yeah, so within each level, there's 3 4-week phases. And it goes back to what you're saying. So regardless of the level that the person's starting at, the package meets you where you're at. And there's questionnaires in the package that helps an individual determine the correct starting point. So I'm not here to bash any other packages that are out there, but some it's like, well, they'll have a complete beginner using such a high amount of resistance for their particular needs that they're set themselves up for an injury. So there's no way I'd have somebody doing a rather complex movement like a barbell squat with the weight that they can only do for 6 reps. So if a person is, say, a beginner with our program, start off with minimal resistance, higher repetitions, get used to the movement in and of itself. So if a person's form breaks down with minimal resistance, you know it's the form that needs work. But if the form breaks down, they have a heavy weight on them, is it because they don't know the movement, or the weight's too much, or a bit of both? So a person does not know which area to correct.
And one of the things I wanted to point out is that, we mentioned you've got 25 plus years of experience in the health and wellness and fitness industry. You've actually counsel people and work with people developing personal programs, all that in gyms and in health food stores. Is that correct?
Correct, yes. And worked at exercise equipment stores, so I'm familiar with the different types of equipment out there, what people should look for if they're going to be purchasing something, say, for their home, or if they go to a gym would be a better choice for their particular needs and their body structure. So I've been fortunate that I've got experience in a lot of different areas, and I've also been mentored by some of the top names out there. So for me to make the claim of saying I'm an expert as far as personal training and I'm an expert nutritionist and this and that, it's not believable. But by associating with people, saying, here's who I've worked with and here's what they contribute to the package. So there's contributions in different areas, and I just put my own twist on it. So this is basically something that I wish I had 30 years ago when I first started in the industry. So the goal is just to give people one-stop shopping for their particular needs that I believe will answer a lot of questions that most people will have as far as better health and wellness and having that longevity for years to come.
And I'm looking at this portion of the page here where it says many people, I don't know how well the viewers can see it on the recording. I guess I could expand it, but it says many fatal common diseases are a lot more dangerous than many people realize. And you mentioned type 2 diabetes, for example.
Yeah.
Diabetes is one of those diseases that can lead to like numbness in the limbs. And so a person could like drop something on their foot and not really feel it or not really feel the pain.
Correct.
And so I know people who've had limbs amputated from something that they think is fairly common. And diabetes is far too common. And hypertension is like, I don't know, we got 8 billion people on the planet, and back in 2010, 31% of the adult population.
Yeah, so you figure almost a third of the adult population. Yeah, it's scary. It was almost unheard of years ago, so we know more about we're in worse shape.
And being overweight, people who have congestive heart failure because their bodies built all this fat around the heart, and the heart has inadequate room to beat in their chest, and so they're slowly perhaps dying because their heart can't pump enough blood and it's enlarged.
It has to work that much harder to get the same amount of blood flow happening.
Yeah. And I was a biology major in college, and I was going to be a doctor at one time, and so I know how the blood flows into the heart and goes in one side and down into the chamber, and then pumps across the lungs and all this stuff, and then goes back out to the body. And so I know this stuff, but cancer is the second leading cause of death globally, and it's responsible for 8.8 million deaths in 2015. It's the second leading cause. I think the top cause is cardiovascular.
I believe you're right. Yes.
Yeah. And yet most cancer is preventable if we just take in more fruits and veggies and back up the alcohol and tobacco usage. And these are things that are all lifestyle changes.
Correct, yeah. And just a little bit of tweaks here and there. So it doesn't have to be a huge thing in just one area. It's just balancing it based on where you're at and what you need to be healthy in that particular area.
And in this part of your page, you share some of the other experts actually who contribute to your program, your package. So it's not just you, it's experts. You mentioned John
Paul Catanzaro.
He's certified exercise physiologist, and then Dr. Pascali, who is a supplementation program and design experts, and you are a supplementation expert. I mean, your program points out that it's diet and nutrition, but with proper supplementation too. Sometimes you do need to take nutritional supplements.
Well, I was going to say, and just to jump in a little bit, my friend. So, there's certainly a time and place for supplements. The mistake that some people make is they rely on supplements as being their only source of, say, vitamins, minerals, or even nutrition. But the whole idea of supplement, it means in addition to, it's not meant to replace things. And
Uh,
I'm, you know, I've got a fair amount of experience in that, but I'm nowhere near the same level of Dr. Deepak Spal. He actually formulates this whole line of supplements, which are very research driven. Um, if we scroll down like a little bit further, we can get to that in a moment. One of the contributors practices what's called functional medicine, and they do extensive tests there to figure out what vitamins, minerals a person may have too much of or too little of in their body. And so that actually has to fine tune the process based on their particular needs.
yeah, I noticed Dr. Larry Baker, and
Mhm.
he covers what to ask your doctor before you begin your exercise program. One of the things that you and I both agree on is that while we focus on holistic
Mhm.
approaches and natural, I focus on natural herbal remedies
Mhm.
and things like that, essential oils. I
Yeah.
also say uh, consult with your medical professional. And
Definitely. They're there for a reason, and they're a wealth of information. You just need to find the right person for your particular needs and make sure that you have that open dialogue with them too.
yeah, and my doctor uh, and I, we're both Air Force majors. I'm retired. He's active duty, but I tell him I made major 20 years before you did.
Mhm.
And he said to me, he said, if I give you anything, let me know how it makes you feel. He said,
Mhm.
I know if you don't like it, you're not going to take it. Um,
Correct.
and so I think you need to have a very open dialogue with your physician. And
Definitely.
also, before you, well, you probably recommend too, having like a, what do you call it, like a complete blood workup.
Exactly. And that's something I cover in the package as well. And that's something like that I encourage people to do. So it's not just like you're going to your physician, and I've dealt with some practitioners out there saying, well, you're okay or you're healthy. Well, I don't know what that means. And I'm not claiming to be an expert as far as interpreting blood work by any means. But if you look at, say, on a continuum, it's like, okay, on one side, it's death, and on the other side, it's optimal health. So speak with your practitioner saying, okay, what numbers should be higher than what they are right now? Which ones should be lower? How can I approach this from more natural means as far as exercise, nutrition, proper sleep, keep my stress levels in check? I'm not saying that there's never a time and place for medication, but sometimes you'll have a physician out there, they say, well, for example, you're going to be on blood pressure medication the rest of your life. I'm thinking, well, hold on, if a person didn't always have high blood pressure, that means that they weren't born with it. Why they need to be on it the rest of their life if they developed it later on in their life? So like basically like we're teaching people that there's more natural means. Certainly speak with their practitioner, say, okay, I'm on this. Can we reevaluate things every say 3 to 6 months to see where I'm at, to see if what I'm doing is working for me, and hopefully get people to gradually wean themselves off under doctor supervision.
Yeah, I find that modern medicine, uh, they mask the symptoms. So if
Mm,
you've got pain, rather than treating the root cause of it, they give you something so that you don't feel the pain.
exactly. And which is
uh,
unfortunate. And along those lines, like I'll give you an example. If a person say has a high blood pressure and they're taking their blood pressure medication to take it to say textbook normal, which is 120 over 80, what's to stop that person from being just very lazy and just unmotivated as far as doing anything with their own life? They say, well, I'm in a normal range, I'm fine. And then you may look at like a neighbor of theirs that's more proactive, saying, hold on, the medication's bringing you to the textbook normal. I'm doing things that are right. So that should bring down the blood pressure even more. So that leads me to believe if they're doing a lot of the right things, they can gradually get weaned off of the blood pressure meds. So you don't want to get people a false sense of security. Well, the blood work says I'm normal, or the test says I'm this and that. But it can always be better by taking more power into your own life and more, just have more control over things.
Absolutely. I mean, you only have one life, in this dimension, and so you need to take responsibility for it, and not abdicate that to anyone else.
Yeah.
You need to make decisions, and again, I'm talking to the entrepreneurs out there primarily who spend hours and hours and hours sitting in front of a computer and rarely get up. I thought about buying a stand-up desk. You got up with a treadmill where you got a tray on the treadmill with your laptop, and you can work while you're walking a little or something. You need to get up and move around. The human body's made to
definitely. And a person will find out, if they're moving around more often throughout the day, they tend to get a better night's sleep as well, because there's going to be more of a contrast with their body temperature. So if a person does not engage in physical activity regularly, their body temperature might be at one level, and it's going to drop a little bit at night as they go to bed.
Right.
But by actually increasing your core temperature throughout the course of the day, you have more of a gap between your peak and, say, your low point. And the body says, okay, now I'm going to shutdown mode because of that big gap, rather than no gap or just a minimal one. Same thing with, say, sunlight. Like, if you're not getting exposed to a lot of sunlight and dark at night, the body doesn't know it's shutdown mode. But if you go out, at the right time of the day, you don't want to risk, heat stroke or anything like that. But you get like a decent amount of exposure. The body says, okay, I've got the light, first thing in the morning. At night, my body's ready just to kind of shut things down a bit.
Right, makes perfect sense. And we've gone for about an hour now, so I sort of want to wrap things up, but I want to make sure that I haven't missed anything that you wanted to cover. We can certainly do other interviews, calls, training sessions for my audience.
Definitely, happy to do so.
But anything specific that you wanted to, mention? Again, I'm going to give them a link below the recording to go and check out the site. And I encourage them not only to check out the site, but to get your program. It comes with a money-back guarantee, 100% money-back guarantee. We don't want your money unless you're happy.
Exactly.
My purpose as I get older and look at what I'm doing for the world is to help people to live healthier, happier lives.
Empower people.
Yeah. So in order to be healthier, you need to be more conscious or cognizant of how you're living. And that's what this is all about. So again, I want to encourage people to check out the site, and I want to encourage you to get the package. And if you have any questions, actually, there's a membership component of the site too, where people can actually interact with you. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So what's going to happen with that is it's a private Facebook community. So as comprehensive and unique as the package is with the experts, if we scroll down even more, you can see like your contributions from experts from other areas. We're almost there. There we go. Yeah. So we have experts in those 6 pillars I mentioned, like physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, financial, relationships. So as solid a package as we currently have, I also recognize that there's always more information that can be added to take a person's health to the next level. So part of the goal with the Facebook community is they can interact with myself and the other purchasers of the package and share their feedback and experience with others, and they may even give me more ideas about what to include, say, in a future version of things.
And actually, this shows all of the contributors to
Mm-hmm.
the program.
Correct.
And
Yeah,
so people can go to the page and mouse over any particular image and read all about that person. And I think the price is very reasonable. It's a very reasonable investment into your health because of what you're getting. You're getting some accountability. You're getting someone holding you responsible, and well, first of all, guiding you through forming new habits, but also um, helping you to track your changes and holding you responsible and creating a personalized program for you. You know, it's not a one size fit all. It's whatever is right for you at the point that you're at right now.
Exactly.
But a very holistic approach. So you know, it's a whole team of people, and I personally will be inside the Facebook group too, because I'm very much into not just living longer, but having a higher quality of life as
Which is huge.
now. It's huge. I mean, you know, I don't want to be bedridden or something like that. You know, when my grandmother will be 96, and my mother and father will be 85.
So in your genes then to be along the same lines,
and you know, I plan on living to be about 300.
Yeah. Well, I like what you say about the whole quality of life, and it goes back to our previous points as far as the majority of illnesses and diseases can be prevented from happening in the first place or minimized. I'm not stating to guarantee that a person will never succumb to any kind of illness. Like, you know, that's not my intention with this interview or the package at all. But you figure, okay, if a person is, say, genetically predisposed to certain things in their family, maybe it means that, you know, by following the package, they may not get hit with something until 30 or 40 years later.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
You know, I'd rather have high blood pressure in my 90s rather than being hit in my 30s. I don't want to get it at all, but if I can postpone things and be a lot healthier leading up to that point, you know.
Yeah, I know 40-year-olds that have had strokes already. Actually, I know one person in their 30s who had a stroke. I don't know what caused it, but you know, that's something you can't always prevent. But it's about controlling the things you can control, and one of those things is your lifestyle. I mean, that makes a difference. And medical science does know how to prevent or cure a lot of things. So it's really about you investing in your health, taking personal responsibility for it, because no one else really is taking responsibility for it. It's your job. It's your life. It's your body.
Yeah, and we're here to provide the tools for them along the way.
Yeah. So I want to encourage them just to go ahead and check out the package, the page, and read all about it. And you know, if it's for you, great. If not, that's fine too. You know,
exactly.
It's your life. But I encourage you to check it out, because it is about your daily habits.
Correct. And once they're instilled, they're with you for the rest of your life.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I started jogging in college, and I'm still very active. I started karate 40 years ago too.
Wow.
And those are habits that now are very much a part of my life.
And it gets to the point, my friend, where you don't even think about it. It's such a natural thing for you. And I don't know about you, but I find that if I don't do something on a particular day, it feels like I'm missing something.
Oh, absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. So why don't we go ahead and wrap things up, and you know, we can look at actually getting back together on another call.
Definitely, yeah.
So for the folks listening to the recording, I encourage you to go ahead and check out this. You know, evaluate the information we just provided you, first of all, and then check out the package, because it will make a difference in your life. And again, what good does it do you to you know, be a successful entrepreneur or whatever, and not take care of yourself. You owe that to yourself. You owe that to your family. I had my daughter. She was looking at me. She said, "Don't you want to watch your great grandkids?"
That's a good question. Yeah.
And I'm like, "Whoa, I never thought of that because my very young." And I'm like, "Yeah, yes, I do." I never thought of that though.
No. Well, and there's something that I picked up from Jim Rohn. He was actually the mentor of Tony Robbins, and unfortunately, Mr. Rohn passed away several years ago. What I like about this quote, I hope I'm phrasing it the correct way. He says, "I'll take care of me for you if you take care of you for me." So you're a dear friend, and we've certainly bonded a lot in the past several years of knowing each other. I'm happy to help you out up to a certain point, but it's not my responsibility to take care of you, and it's not your responsibility to take care of me. So if I'm going in I'm going to be the best that I can, so I can give out much more to you, and you take the same approach to yourself, so you give back to others like you're already doing. Everybody benefits that way.
And I actually had the pleasure of meeting Jimmy Rohn's mentor.
Wow, Earl Schultz, was it?
He's passed away too, and but he called him Jimmy, and so I know a lot of people. My roots go pretty deep, but why don't we go ahead and wrap it up, and I'll post this recording a lot of places where people can tune into it, and I'll let my list know about it too, because
perfect. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. And what you're saying earlier is there's also the referral program. So you are an affiliate of the package. So if people find that the package resonates with them and they want to help out others, it's not just sharing the information with them. They can also sign up as an affiliate under you. So it's they help others and they're rewarded at the same time. So the whole thing is make it win-win for everybody.
Sure, they can just reach out to me, and I'll give them the information on how to sign up and everything. I don't live in a world of scarcity, and there is actually, it's about helping out other people. So that's what I'm all about.
Fantastic. I'm sure we can go on for a long period here, and we've done that with previous chats. So I think my friend, we should call it a night. And I'm happy to do another episode with you in the very near future and cover some parts that we didn't cover this time around.
Okay, thanks, George.
Thanks, Dr. Lilly.
You have a good evening.
You too there. Bye-bye.